The wind howled, a mournful dirge that seemed to echo through the very bones of the old airship. Captain Boreas, his weathered face etched with lines of experience and determination, stood at the helm, his gaze fixed on the horizon. The sky was a canvas of swirling grays, the clouds racing across like giant, angry beasts. "Another storm, Boreas," muttered First Mate Silas, his voice barely audible over the wind. He was a burly man with a heart as big as his ship. "I swear, this weather has been nothing but trouble lately." Boreas nodded, his eyes scanning the horizon for any sign of a break in the storm. "It's been a rough few weeks," he agreed. "But we'll weather this storm, just like we've weathered all the others." Below them, the ocean churned and frothed, its surface a tumultuous sea of whitecaps. A shiver ran down Boreas's spine as he remembered the tales his grandfather used to tell him of the treacherous waters that lay beneath. The old man had always warned him to respect the sea, for it was a force of nature to be feared. Boreas turned to Dr. Vivian Swan, the ship's eccentric inventor, who was hunched over her workbench, tinkering with a strange contraption. "Vivian, how's that new weather-predicting device coming along?" he asked. Dr. Swan looked up, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "It's almost ready, Boreas. I believe it will be able to predict storms with greater accuracy than any other device of its kind." Boreas smiled. "That would be a great help. We could avoid a lot of trouble if we knew when a storm was coming." As they continued their journey, the storm grew more intense. Lightning flashed across the sky, illuminating the airship in a blinding glare. The wind howled louder, rattling the windows and causing the ship to shudder. "Hold on!" shouted Boreas, gripping the helm tightly. The airship bucked and swayed, its sails flapping wildly in the wind. Below them, a wave crashed against the side of the ship, sending a spray of salt water over the deck. The crew scrambled to secure loose objects, their faces contorted with fear. Just when it seemed as though the storm couldn't get any worse, a sudden gust of wind caught the airship and sent it tumbling through the air. The crew let out a collective gasp as the ship plummeted towards the ocean. In the chaos that followed, Sky, the ship's stowaway, managed to grab hold of a loose rope and swing himself to safety. The young boy clung to the rope for dear life, his heart pounding in his chest. As the airship continued to fall, Boreas and Silas managed to regain control of the helm. With a final burst of effort, they managed to level the ship and pull it out of its dive. The airship crashed through the storm clouds, emerging into a clear, blue sky. The crew let out a cheer as they realized they had survived the ordeal. "We did it!" shouted Boreas, his voice filled with relief. "We survived the storm." The crew looked around, surveying the damage. The deck was a mess of ropes and splintered wood, but the ship remained mostly intact. Dr. Swan emerged from her workshop, her goggles askew and her hair standing on end. "Everyone okay?" she asked, her voice shaking slightly. The crew murmured their affirmatives, and Boreas nodded as Vivian said, "Thanks to you and your quick thinking, we're all still in one piece." Sky, still clutching the rope, peered over the side of the ship. The ocean was now a serene, blue expanse, the storm nothing but a memory behind them. He couldn't believe he'd survived. "Look," Silas pointed ahead. On the horizon, a series of rocky islands jutted out of the sea, topped with lush vegetation and surrounded by a glowing aura. "The Isles of Pandora. That's our next port of call." The airship limped towards the islands, the crew working tirelessly to repair the damage. Sky couldn't help but feel a sense of excitement mixed with dread. The legend spoke of the Isles as a place of beauty and danger, where myth and reality blurred. As they approached, the aura grew more intense, casting a warm light over the ship. Dr. Swan stepped beside Boreas, her eyes wide with wonder. "It's the magic of the Isles," she murmured. The plants and crystals here are said to have incredible properties. The airship docked at a small, hidden cove, and the crew disembarked to restock supplies and make repairs. Sky looked around, his curiosity piqued by the strange, almost alien-looking flora and fauna. The sounds of unfamiliar creatures echoed through the jungle, and the air was thick with the scent of exotic blooms. While the crew worked, Boreas called for a meeting in the ship's cabin. He spread out a map on the table, its edges frayed from years of use. "The artifact we seek is rumored to be hidden deep within the Isles," he said, tapping a spot on the map. "But we must tread carefully. The sorcerer is bound to have spies everywhere." Dr. Swan nodded gravely. "And not all the creatures here are friendly," she warned. "Some are said to be as clever as they are deadly." Sky listened intently, his heart racing. This was his chance to prove himself. He had heard whispers of the artifact before, tales of its power to grant unlimited energy to those who could harness it. If they could find it before the sorcerer did, they could change the world for the better. The group set off into the dense jungle, the underbrush crunching beneath their boots. The air grew thick with humidity, and the sounds of the jungle grew louder, more insistent. Sky felt a hand on his shoulder and turned to see Boreas's reassuring smile. "Stay sharp, lad," the captain said. "Adventure awaits, and with it, danger." Sky nodded, gripping the handle of his trusty knife. He was ready to face whatever the Isles had in store for them, ready to protect his newfound friends and help in their quest. The journey ahead was fraught with peril, but together, they would navigate the treacherous waters of fate. For Captain Boreas, Dr. Vivian Swan, and the crew of the Skyhawk, the quest for the legendary artifact had only just begun. The jungle grew denser with each step, the vines wrapping around them like a living embrace. Sky, his senses heightened by the thrill of the unknown, spotted movement in the underbrush. He froze, his hand tightening around the knife. A pair of gleaming eyes met his, and then a sleek, scaled creature slithered into view. It was unlike any snake he had ever seen, with a serrated tail that ended in a metallic tip. "Ether Viper," Dr. Swan murmured, her voice a mix of wonder and caution. "They're attracted to magic. We must be close to the artifact's location." The creature lunged, but before it could strike, a bolt of light shot from Dr. Swan's wrist device, encasing the Ether Viper in a shimmering cage of energy. It hissed and writhed, then vanished in a puff of steam. "Impressive," Boreas said, his eyes gleaming. "What other wonders do you have hidden up your sleeve, Doc?" Dr. Swan merely chuckled, her eyes twinkling with secrets. "A few more tricks, but let's not give away all our surprises just yet." The group pushed deeper into the heart of the Isles, the jungle growing more mysterious with each passing hour. The air grew heavy with the scent of magic, and the plants began to shimmer with an ethereal glow. They encountered strange beasts that seemed to be a blend of metal and flesh, their movements fluid yet mechanical. The crew exchanged nervous glances, but Boreas's confidence remained unshaken. As night fell, they made camp beside a crystal-clear stream, the water babbling over rocks that hummed with an eerie melody. The stars above were obscured by the dense canopy, but the glow of the plants cast a soft, otherworldly light around them. Sky lay awake, listening to the whispers of the jungle. He felt a kinship with this place, as if the magic that suffused the air was a part of him. The secrets of his past stirred in the recesses of his mind, hinting at a connection to this enchanted land. The next day, they stumbled upon an ancient ruin, its stone walls covered in intricate carvings that depicted battles between airship armies and mythical beasts. At the center of the ruin stood a pedestal, upon which rested a gleaming crystal sphere. The artifact they sought. "We must be careful," Boreas warned, drawing his sword. The sorcerer's agents could be anywhere. But it was too late. A shadow fell over them, and a chilling laugh echoed through the ruins. A figure emerged from the foliage, clad in a cloak that fluttered with dark energy. The sorcerer had found them. "So, Captain Boreas, you've come to claim my prize," the sorcerer sneered, his eyes fixed on the crystal sphere. His face was hidden in the shadows of his hood, but his presence was palpable, the air crackling with malevolent power. Boreas stepped forward, his hand on the hilt of his sword. "This artifact does not belong to you," he said firmly. "It is not a weapon to be wielded by the wicked." The sorcerer threw back his hood, revealing a face twisted by anger and ambition. "It is the key to ultimate power, and I will not let you stand in my way." The crew tensed, ready for battle. Dr. Swan's fingers danced over her wrist device, charging it with a fiery glow. Silas hefted an axe, his gaze steely and determined. The air grew thick with tension as the two sides faced off, the fate of the artifact and the kingdom hanging in the balance. Sky felt a surge of courage. He knew he had to act. In a flash, he dashed forward, his knife glinting in the strange light. The sorcerer's eyes narrowed, and he raised a hand, summoning a bolt of lightning. But before it could strike, a mechanical spider, one of Dr. Swan's creations, darted from the underbrush, attaching itself to the sorcerer's arm. The man shrieked, dropping his concentration, and the lightning bolt dissipated harmlessly. The crew leaped into action, each member playing their part in the unfolding battle. Sky reached the pedestal, his hand closing around the crystal sphere. A warm energy surged through him, filling him with a sense of belonging and purpose. He knew he had to protect it, no matter the cost. The sorcerer roared, his eyes burning with fury. He raised his staff, and the ground beneath them began to tremble. The ruins shuddered to life, the carvings on the walls springing forth into actual beasts of steel and stone. The crew fought valiantly, their swords clanging against the mechanical monsters. Sky could feel the sphere's power growing, pulsating in time with his racing heart. As the battle raged on, the sorcerer turned his attention to the boy. "You dare defy me?" he spat. "Your kind is nothing but a nuisance." Sky met the sorcerer's gaze, his eyes filled with determination. "I am not just any stowaway," he said, his voice strong. "I am Sky of the Skyhawk, and I will not let you claim this power for evil." With a roar, the sorcerer sent a wave of dark magic hurtling towards him. Sky closed his eyes and concentrated, the crystal's energy swirling around him. When he opened them again, the magic had transformed into a protective shield, shimmering with a silver light. The crew watched in amazement as the sorcerer's attack was deflected. Dr. Swan took advantage of the distraction, her device firing a bolt of pure light that struck the sorcerer's staff, shattering it into 1,000 pieces. The ruins fell silent, the mechanical beasts grinding to a halt. The sorcerer stumbled back, his cloak in tatters, his power waning. "You may have won this time," he hissed, "but I will not be stopped. The artifact will be mine." With a flash of shadow, he disappeared into the jungle, leaving the crew to breathe a collective sigh of relief. They had secured the artifact, but the journey was far from over. Sky looked into the crystal, its secrets beckoning to him. He knew there was more to his past, more to the world than he had ever dreamed. And with the wind in their sails and the stars as their guide, Captain Boreas, Dr. Vivian Swan, and the crew of the Skyhawk set off into the night, the next chapter of their adventure unfolding before them. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, consider subscribing to stay updated with our latest stories, give us a like if you want to see more, and drop a comment below to let us know your thoughts.